What's up, everybody? I am back from vacation, so I figured it would be the perfect time as we head into the NFL season to start looking at some dynasty trades that you guys are making as we're tinkering those lineups, getting ready for week 1 of the NFL season. So that's exactly what we're going to do today. I asked you guys in the Discord to post those completed trades with some context. I got them here in today's video, so let's not waste any time. Let's start reviewing these trades, grading them, telling you guys who won, because that's what you guys really want to know, and talk about these deals in general. So the first trade that I have here on the screen is going to be a 12-team PPR tight end premium superflex league, where the context that we received is this is a team that is hoping to contend in 2026. And the other team in this deal, it looks like DeWitt is the other team in this deal, is a contender this year in 2025. So what happens is they traded away Jahmyr Chase. That is the team that is contending in 2026. They trade away Jahmyr Chase. They get Malik Nabers and a 2026 first-round pick. Now, that first-round pick is coming from that team that is going to contend this year, so we are expecting it to be late. Malik Nabers and a late first for Jahmyr Chase. Jahmyr Chase is higher in my rankings right now, but when I look at this deal, it makes sense for you. You're pushing it out one more year. You're trying to go to 2026. You want to get a little bit younger, so your contending window is there. Garrett and I recently did a video on the channel where we were trying to project 2027 startup drafts, and we both had Malik Nabers ahead of Jahmyr Chase in our rankings. So a year from now, 2 years from now, I expect them to switch places in Dynasty startup rankings. So I have no issues with this. I think this is a great deal for you, given the context that you have for your team. And this is a good deal for the other team as well, I think. Going from, Malik Nabers to Jahmyr Chase, we obviously love both of these players, but Jahmyr Chase has the ability to be the wide receiver one again this year with that Cincinnati Bengals offense. Let's go to trade number 2. Trade number 2 here is a 12-team Superflex half PPR and a tight end premium. We got Bill Croskey-Merritt, Ja'Cory Croskey-Merritt, whatever you want to call him. It seems like everybody wants to call him Bill. It does feel like hype is at an all-time high. Brian Robinson traded to the San Francisco 49ers. You move Ja'Cory Croskey-Merritt, JCM, for a 2026 second-round pick. Look, if you are in a rebuilding state, if you're in a team that doesn't really need any contending production, sell out. I have no issues with that. A second-round pick in general is the compensation that I think is fair and what I would be looking for. Anything less than that, a third, a fourth, whatever it may be in your league, I am not selling for that type of draft capital, but a second-round pick seems to be the sweet spot for me right now. I feel comfortable there in rebuilding rosters, but if I'm a contending team, I'm just keeping the profit of JCM, see what I have. You basically got him for free in your rookie drafts, or you got him off of the waiver wire. I'm just going to ride it out and see what happens on those contending teams. But this type of deal, we don't know whether or not you're rebuilding or contending. I hope you're rebuilding because this is good compensation. Even if you're not, maybe you're deep at running back. But this is the compensation I want, a second or better. Anything less than a second, I'm not interested in selling JCM.
If you're ready to take your dynasty team to the next level, I have the perfect deal for you. We are now offering our full bundle. That is everything that we have to offer here at Dynasty Nerds. The GM tool, which not only will let you see how your team looks, but the rest of your league and as many leagues as you have. There's tons of tools inside there, including mock draft tools, trade browsers, trade calculators, looking at the overall league strengths and weaknesses. You'll have it all there. But on top of that, you'll also have our film room that looks at all of our rookies, our nerd score, extra podcasts, everything. And we're giving it away as cheap as we can right now. Up until kickoff of the first game of the NFL season on September 4th, you'll get this for 30% off if you use YouTube30. Promo code YouTube30 at checkout. Head to dynastynerds.com right now. Use promo code YouTube30 today.
Trade number 3 is a 10-team Superflex PPR league. Team 1 is super young. They're running back away from contending. They said they also have Bijan Robinson. And Team 2 is trying to get younger. The picks in this trade are the 2025 first is the 105, and the 2025 second is the 205. So really what we have here is the 105 and the 205 here in this year's rookie class for Odunze and Christian McCaffrey. Now, this is a 10-team league. Superstars are going to be a little bit more prevalent. We want to have those on our rosters. We want to make sure that we're, consolidated up a little bit more just so we have those studs in the lineup. I think Christian McCaffrey qualifies as one of those. He is not necessarily going to be a player that we think has a lot of legs left. There's not a lot of longevity with him. But they said that Team 1 is super young. They said they're running back away from being a strong contender. They have Bijan Robinson. Give me CMC as my RB2. And then you're talking about Odunze here. I think you could argue not the 105, but a late first, I'd be comfortable moving Christian McCaffrey. And then we're talking about a mid-second round pick for Odunze. Obviously, the compensation, it being the 105, you're accounting for some of that first round pick value going towards Odunze. But I like the side of the players. If you're rebuilding, you're trying to get younger, getting a first, the 105, where you can re-roll that into a Trevion Henderson, re-roll that into a Teteroa McMillan, re-roll that into, whoever you think it may be at that 105. I'm all for it. I hate that the young team or the team that's trying to get younger moves Odunze because I think he's in store for a big breakout season. But this is a good deal for team number 1, who's a running back away and now has Christian McCaffrey. Trade number 4, this is a 12-team PPR tight end premium superflex league where they said they are tearing it down because they pushed in all of their chips last year and they came up short. So they moved Dak Prescott and A.J. Brown, obviously two contending pieces that they probably pushed the chips in forwards last year. Dak Prescott didn't play in the back half of the year. That's obviously part of probably why this happened. They received Justin Herbert and Kyle Williams. Now, when I look at this deal, I'm 50-50 on it. You're tearing it down, but it feels like you're tearing up at a quarterback position. You're using A.J. Brown and Dak Prescott combined to go get Justin Herbert, who is an upgrade. I don't know if that would be classified as tearing down or tearing a team down. When I look at that, I would probably like to try and do 2 separate deals. I'm not necessarily going to try and package Dak and AJ together. What I'd be trying to do if I'm tearing down and trying to get younger and rebuild this roster a little bit, or at least retool it, you don't have to go full rebuild, down tier Dak Prescott to a Michael Penix or something like that. Get a first thrown in, get something thrown in, a young guy, whatever it may be. Your league ecosystem is going to be different in each and every league, but you know what you can get. Tier that down to a younger player. Don't tier it up, because then you can take A.J. Brown and tier him down to a different player. Maybe you can go get an Xavier Worthy. Maybe you can go get, a Jordan Addison or a Devonta Smith and then get something else thrown in as well. I just don't like in the tier down where it does feel like your goal is to retool and get more young assets on this roster, add more pieces, because it seems like you pushed the chips in, traded the pieces last year, and it didn't work out. I don't like tearing up, using 2 of your better pieces or 2 of your more likely to contend pieces to then move and go get Justin Herbert. It's not a bad trade. The value is going to be fine, but I just think it's counterproductive to what you're trying to do. So overall, not a bad deal, but probably not the process that I would be taking here in this one. Trade number 5, going over here to a 12-team Superflex tight end premium and contending roster. They trade Xavier Worthy, a 2026 first-round pick, and a 2026 second-round pick for Drake London. Now, we know this is a contending team, so the first and the second in 2026 are going to be late. We've talked about on this channel before how there are some guys in 2026 that are probably being slept on. But when I am a contending roster and I'm looking at this team here, I'm definitely willing to push the chips in. Push those late 2026 first-round picks, move all of those, and combine them with players to upgrade and consolidate and get superstars on my lineup. I think Drake London classifies as that. A late 26 first, a late second, and Worthy for London. I'm for it. The value's right. Both teams probably feel good about this deal. If you're the guy who sold Drake London, maybe you could have even asked for a little bit more, but I think you both probably feel all right, especially if that team with London was rebuilding, but London's a young piece. You probably don't need to move him anyways. So that said, love the London side here. I think it's done right here. Trade number 6, we got a 12-team Superflex full PPR in a non-tight end premium league. I'm looking at Brock Bowers for Jahmyr Gibbs. Very simple trade, very easy trade to comprehend. But in a non-tight end premium, I'm kind of tossed up. I think a tight end premium league, you definitely go to the Brock Bowers side, but non-tight end premium, you have a real argument for Jahmyr Gibbs. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is probably going higher in those startup rankings in this type of format. Full PPR league, it does benefit both of them, Gibbs being a little bit of a pass catching back. I think if I have to split hairs here, both of them elite cornerstone type of players, because the format is not tight end premium, I'm going to go with Jahmyr Gibbs. This is a very fair deal, and I like both sides here. If this was tight end premium or you ever went to tight end premium in this league, give me the Bowers side, but Jahmyr Gibbs for now in a non-tight end premium is the side I'm going to go with. That's a tough one, though. That's probably the most even trade we've had so far today. Trade number 7, 12-team, 1 quarterback, 6-point passing touchdown, full PPR, non-tight end premium as well, and it is start 9 starting lineups. The context I have is I traded for Maye, and then an hour later, I accepted this offer for Patrick Mahomes. I also have Caleb Williams and Tua Tagovailoa. So you're moving Patrick Mahomes for Drake Maye. For me, this is very interesting because I have these guys very close in my rankings. I still prefer Patrick Mahomes to Drake Maye just by a little bit, but it is very, very, very close. So I do think you win this deal. However, if you're a team that's rebuilding, retooling, you're playing for the future, you need to be a little bit younger, there is 110% an argument for going with the Drake Maye side. I think this is a very solid deal. Mahomes probably has the chance to bounce back this year, but you have the Rice suspension, you have some of the other things. Maye could take a step forward. Good deal for both parties. The fact that you have Caleb Williams and Tua does feel like that was a little bit volatile, so I get it. It does seem like getting Patrick Mahomes gives you a little bit more stability, some floor in that quarterback room, so maybe that's part of it. Drake Maye might still have some volatility to him as well, so I don't mind this overall. Like I said, he's a little bit higher in my rankings, but in a retool or rebuild, you could lean Maye. Give me the Mahomes side for now. I like this deal, though. Trade number 8, this is a 12-team Superflex, full PPR, tight end premium, and start 11. The context I have is I took over an orphan with some elite assets, and I needed to tier down. Trade activity is super low in this league, and this was the first deal that I was able to get done. So they moved Jahmyr Chase for Brian Thomas Jr. and Josh Jacobs. Overall, looking at this deal, it is not quite the Malik Nabers and a first-round pick type of deal that we saw earlier for Jahmyr Chase, but it's fairly close to that. I would say Josh Jacobs, probably worth a late first-round pick in those 12-team leagues. Brian Thomas Jr. probably a little bit less valuable than Malik Nabers, but still not, significantly less valuable. If the trade activity is low, you're not able to get a lot of things moving, and this is the first domino that you need to fall in order to get a little bit of a snowball effect for some of the trades. I don't mind it. The value might be a tiny bit light on this deal. I would have liked to see you get just a tiny bit more. And on an orphan team where you probably are looking to get younger assets, try and, retool, rebuild this thing, Josh Jacobs probably doesn't fit your overall build. So he would be a player that I'd be looking to make a secondary move. Maybe you can move him for that late first round pick, like I said. But at the end of the day, if this is the one that had to be done to get it rolling, I don't hate it. I just think there was probably room for a little bit more. But if trade activity is low, and you can't really do anything about it. Like I said at the beginning of this video, all of these trade markets are different. It's depending on your trade market where you know what you're going to be able to get in these rooms. So I don't mind it. Probably a little bit of meat left on the bone there. Going to trade number 9, 10-team Superflex, full PPR, non-tight end premium with a 1-point bonus on 50-plus yard rushes and receptions. So a little bit of a bonus there, probably not enough to really count that towards the analysis because that is so rare that you have a 50-yard reception or a 50-yard rush. So we'll probably not, acknowledge that too much. The context I have is a guy reached out to me since he had Mixon and B-Rob as his other 2 running backs. That's rough right now. The 27-second will likely be in the 201 to the 203 range at worst, since this team is horrible. The 3rd and the 4th I gave will likely be mid at worst, but likely later picks if all things go right. Also worth noting that the fab is going to reset at the start of the season. So with the fab, you either use it or lose it, and it's about to be the beginning of the season. So if you don't use this now, you're going to lose it. So I see why you just throw it in. I don't think it really has much value, but what you have here is James Conner, Trey Benson, a 3rd and 4th, which he said are mid to late, for Caleb Johnson and an early 2nd. So if I'm looking at this very critically from a dynasty perspective, I think we have an argument that Caleb Johnson, despite how good James Conner is projected to be in 2025, and we still think he has some juice left in the tank, and we do think he's still going to be a producer, I think Caleb Johnson is the most valuable dynasty asset in this deal. So how you were able to get a 27-second, an early one at that, thrown into this deal, I just love it for you. I mean, a 10-team league, you want those studs. Like I said, Connor's going to be a guy that you can plug into your RB2 slot, into your flex spot most weeks and be very happy. You get to the handcuff in Trey Benson where, if he gets hurt or in the future they move on to Benson as the number 1 guy, which may or may not happen at this point in time, you do have that. I just like Caleb Johnson in the 27-second side. I think there's the most value. You get the most valuable player in the deal, long-term, dynasty lens, and you get the most valuable pick. So this one was pretty easy for me. Give me that side. You throw in the fab because you're going to lose it anyway. So no big deal there. Love this trade for you. And then our last trade here, trade number 10, we have a 12-team Superflex, full PPR, and tight end premium league. He says I'm a contending team. So he trades away a 27 second, which he says he's contending, so I'm projecting that to be mid to late, and a 26 third, mid to late as well, for Quinshon Judkins. Now, obviously, there's still a lot of uncertainty here with Quinshon Judkins. Hasn't signed his contract, probably not going to be ready for week 1, probably not going to be playing much. I don't even think he's going to be playing much in 2025. However, the value that you are getting in this deal does feel very good. If you truly are a contender, if you're projected to be a late second-round pick in that year, a late third-round pick in the 2026 class, I'll roll the dice on a player that I think was a first-round type of rookie draft talent this year, player that was definitely in conversation for the 107, 108 type of range in those rookie drafts. It's not very often you get this big of a discount on one of those players, and as a contender, you have the luxury of being able to swing for the fence. I think this is one of those. I don't want to, death by analysis with this one, but Quinshon Judkins, by a long shot in this type of scenario, you are basically eliminating all risk by the picks being as low as they are, the hit rates on those picks being as low as those are. I think the risk is pretty much out of the window here. You are just inheriting a good player at a discounted price, and I'm all for that when I'm a contending roster. So there you have it, folks. 10 trades you guys submitted, telling you guys how I feel about those trades, who I think won, what I would do, what I wouldn't do if these were my teams. Hopefully you guys enjoy these. I think these are always very, very fun videos to make, so hopefully you enjoy them as much as I like making them. But at the end of the day, if this is your first time at this channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button, make sure you hit the like button, become a Nerd Herd member, and do all those good things to support this channel. We will see you on our next episode. Until then, though, peace out.